If you're a wet on wet painter, I can safely assume you suck at painting highlights on things like trees. Don't worry, we've all been there, and heck, I'm still there sometimes too. Doing highlights perfectly can be extremely difficult. However, I'm going to show you a simple exercise that any brand new painter can do that's going to make them understand how to achieve perfect highlights on things like trees. This is going to unlock the skills to give you correct pressure, correct shape, and make it so your paint actually sticks on top of your other paint. Are you ready? Because here we go. Now the trick for this beginner exercise is actually starting with an already dry painting. Yeah, that's right, I said 100% dry. You also want to use liquid white. Liquid white is perfect for beginners because it's the perfect ratio of flexibility, flow, and has the ability to stick easily on top of dry paint and also wet paint. I recommend having 2 batches here. One for your highlight side, which is just pure liquid white, and one for your shadow side, which is liquid white mixed with just a little bit of Prussian blue. Now take your fan brush and get a nice even coat across both sides of the bristles. Make sure to wiggle your brush so the paint goes to the ends of the tip, and then when you have an even application, I want you to go back into the swatch of paint and slightly push up to get a ridge of paint on the ends of the tips of the bristles. This will help a lot for brand new painters. Now I want you to remember, this is not a tutorial, this is an exercise. And with the exercise, I want you to practice your flow, your pressure, your touch, your shape, your feel. And the easiest way I have found to do that for brand new painters is using a dry subject to paint on top of and the corner of your brush and start with light pressure. This will give you control over what you're doing. It also allows your paint to easily stick, but it also gives you instant results. This way you can judge everything that you're doing. And of course, it's extremely forgiving. Virtually no mud mixing here, which is going to teach you so much going forward because it's going to build that confidence. Now in this exercise, I want you to play around with a few different things. First of all, the amount of paint that you put on your paintbrush. Like I said, when you create that ridge of paint on the end of the bristles, your first few applications will apply easily. Very clutch for brand new painters. So don't be afraid to just do that over and over for each branch or each highlight you want to do. You can also experiment with different pressure on the bristles. The lighter the touch of the bristles, the less they will bend, giving you barely any highlights that will stick on top. Very good for distant highlights or just slight detail. The harder you push, the more those bristles are going to bend, exposing more paint from the brush onto the actual surface area, generally leaving thicker highlights or more texture or more bold contrast. It may sound dumb, but trust me, this simple little exercise will help you a ton when it comes to applying highlights for your wet on wet painting. This is a stage 1 lesson. I recommend just working on a dried painting. So that way you can take your big blobs like we have on this tree here and have something that's a little more defined when you figure out your touch, your pressure, your flow, your flexibility, how comfortable you feel with your hand and which paintbrushes you use. Experiment and figure it out. The next stage would be working on a semi-dry painting. So that way you can see how somewhat of a wet painting will have with your flexibility, flow, feel, and all those things. Then stage 3 would be fully working on a wet on wet painting. But by that time, you've understood so much between your brushes, your pressure, the touch, the flow, the shape, the structure, the flexibility, that you'll be able to nail it. If you have a leftover painting, please, 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 try this exercise. It will really help you. Even if it's just a junk painting that you're gonna throw away, play with it, have some fun with it. You'll learn something from all the different lessons that you're going through. And this is one of the best lessons I've ever taught myself. In fact, I've painted just rows and rows of trees before and just sat there and tried to practice. And I like this method a lot because it taught me how paint looks when I apply it to my painting. I know I'm rambling, but I really want you to try this exercise. And if you do, let me know down in the comments below if it helped you out. And hey, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and also follow me on Instagram because that really helps me out. And if you're trying to get into painting, don't forget about my book and my PDFs down below. I'll see you all in the next one. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, you know what to do. Check out the videos over to my side. Peace.